Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick. We're back on the Star Wars Legion page for FFG because we have a couple of new expansions to talk about today. Now, previously when FFG released 2 expansion preview articles, I did a video that covered both of those, but today I'm going to take a step back and actually do a single video for each of these, because these expansions are going to be coming out in Legion's second wave of its tenure. And it means that these expansions are coming out alongside a lot of very similar units. For example, we have here Defend the Fleet, a preview article on the Fleet Troopers for the Rebellion. And there's a lot of things we already have in the game that we know about that we can compare this to directly. So without further ado, let's scroll down to the spread and see what we've got. And here we have it. This is the Fleet Trooper spread. And the reason I wanted to talk about other troopers is because this is actually very similar to both the Stormtrooper pack and the original Rebel Troopers that we get in the core set. And I'll have to compare those in a second, but before I do, I'm just going to quickly talk about the spread here. We actually know what basically all these cards do, apart from this one here, the MPL 57 Ba something, which is interesting because we had an MPL 57 Ion sort of grenade launcher in the original Rebel pack. We don't have that fully spoiled, but we can pretty much see what that's doing. That weapon has Impact and Ion, while this one has Blast and Impact. The original one had Impact 1, this one has Impact 2, fires at range 1 to 3, the same as the other one, but goes on this troop as opposed to the original Rebel Troopers, which is interesting. And apart from that, we actually know what everything else here on the spread does. This card here correlates with the mini upgrade slot, and if you count the units here, we know from this card here that we have 4 troops in the squad, as in the leader, 2, 3, 4. And in the pack, we have 1 more, meaning that this card is simply going to add 1 of these troopers to your squad. This card here is Grappling Hooks. It gives the troop Expert Climber. This is an Impact Grenade. We just saw this revealed a few days ago in the Stormtrooper pack. And this is a couple of heavy weapons that are unique to this troop. We have here the Scattergun Trooper, which at range 1 to 2 has 2 red dice and has Pierce 1. What's interesting about this is the weapons we've seen so far for the heavy slots on the various troopers usually give them some kind of utility. For example, in the Stormtroopers we had a sort of a quasi-sniper rifle and bazooka, where the Scattergun Trooper seems to be just doing what this troop is already doing, but a little bit better. If you take a look at the unit card down here, for example, it does the same thing, range 1 to 2. It's 2 white dice instead of red, so this is going to have a bit more combat consistency, and it also has Pierce, which is quite nice. This is going to mean you're going to have a bit more firepower against troopers, but in terms of positioning and capability of the troop, it doesn't actually change what this troop's trying to do. It's basically a do what this troop does more card, if that makes any sense. Where this blaster grenade launcher thingamajig is going to give you a bit of flexibility against vehicles as well, which is really cool. And just for a moment, I want to talk again about that basic weapon we have here on the unit card, because this is one of the main things that distinguishes it from the existing troopers within the game. Both the Rebel Troopers and Stormtroopers only attack with their basic weapon with a single dice, but it attacks at range 1 to 3. Having 2 dice is great. I mean, they're white dice, so they're not fantastic. But even 2 white dice is better than a single black in terms of the mathematics behind it. These dice may not be as consistent, but the fact that you're rolling 2 goes some ways to eliminate variance, making these guys a bit more consistent overall. But the fact that they're only shooting at range 1 to 2 means they don't have as much board presence, which means, and a lot of people are speculating this, that these guys are better at ambushes. Makes perfect sense. Hidden behind cover. They might not be great at taking capture points, but they should be good at defending them. That seems to be what's going on here. And I find this really interesting, just in terms of the canon, or at least the film canon we know about these guys. In the Star Wars movies, these guys have had 2 prominent action scenes where they have skirmished against Imperial troopers or heroes or whatever. That's at the end of Rogue One and at the start of A New Hope. And both instances was an ambush that they had the upper hand in, but lost quite thoroughly in. They didn't perform well in either of those situations. So just from that point of view, it's kind of interesting that that's the concept that FFG have gone for. The other most distinguishing feature between this guy and the original troopers is that Stormtroopers have a surge conversion on their attack dice. The Rebel Troopers have surge conversion on their defense dice, where these guys have actually surges on both, which is really good. These almost feel like these guys are designed to be superiority troopers, as in they'll fare the best against other troopers because they seem to have everything going for them in that regard. As long as they get in close and fire at range 1 to 2, they should be doing well against them. Against heroes and vehicles, maybe not, but that seems to be the concept of this unit. The one other big difference, of course, is the keyword on the center of the card. Ready 1, after you perform a standby action, you may gain 1 aim token. This means that you basically have a great incentive to stand by turn after turn after turn. If you indeed you have any cards that have been exhausted, such as this grenade launcher, or you have suppression tokens you need to get rid of. Again, it just means that these guys are going to be really efficient. It means that your opponent is going to be hard pressed to try and keep these guys suppressed. It means they're going to get rid of those suppression tokens quite easily and also get aim tokens, which is a nice bit of efficiency, I must say. But the key question I want to finish this video on is, do we take this guy over the Rebel Troopers, or do we favour the Rebel Troopers as your core unit? Or do we want a blend of both? It's actually really interesting because these guys seem to have significantly less utility when it comes to their heavy weapons. While the grenade launcher looks really cool, it doesn't look like it's going to be the best option in terms of dealing with vehicles. If the Rebel Troopers get a sort of heavy bazooka unit, anything like the Stormtroopers, it's going to be more effective. Basically, we have to look at the upsides of this card and decide whether those upsides are good enough to overcome what looks like a more versatile unit in the Rebel Troopers. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. A video will be up soon for Princess Leia, but in the meantime, like and subscribe, like the Facebook page and the Twitter, and I will catch you later.